Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Emerge Detour Essentials Live. We are in season 3, and this is our 6th episode. So, welcome everybody. Join us in the chat room. If you don't know, you can join us every single Wednesday for the season at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right here on our YouTube channel or on Facebook at Ready to Emerge. And each week we have a new exciting guest where we're sharing different topics, life learnings, experiences, and of course the journeys of others in an effort to impact and inspire and spur action in a very positive way. So we're very excited for our guest today. Catherine will do the intros in a little bit. But as usual, before we get into that, we're going to ask you, if you haven't done so already, to like and subscribe to our channel, Ready to Emerge on YouTube. Share with a friend. Now's a great time to send a little WhatsApp message to someone. Say, hey guys, Emerge is happening. They're live right now. Join them on YouTube. Hey Lansdale, we haven't seen you in a while.
Hi Lansdale. Hi Anya.
I think maybe last week was so busy in the chat room that, the comments literally just flew by in that episode with Miss Kitty. I actually rewatched it on the weekend because I didn't get to read all the comments that were happening, and because so much excitement was happening, it was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I actually watched over the episode, which was quite hilarious. Some of you may be watching and be saying, hey, I thought this was an Emerge trio. Where's Rochelle? So unfortunately, Rochelle is unable to join us tonight. She sent her love. She is still going to try, but just in case, she wanted to send her love, and Kathy and I are just going to run the show tonight. So wish us luck too.
Right.
So you can let us know in the chat where you're joining us from. We always love to know where our Emerge is from. We see Alta is here from New York City. Lansdale is here right in Jamaica. Let us know where you're joining us from, and if this is the first time that you're joining us for Emerge Detour Essentials Live. Before we actually get into the show, what is Lansdale saying? Last week was my first time being back.
We missed you. We knew that you weren't here, but we understood why.
Miss Kitty's episode is a must watch.
Mm-hmm.
So for anyone that missed last week's episode, make sure you join and watch that episode again. Loretta is back from London.
Hi, Loretta.
We're always excited to have you. Obviously, Loretta does not sleep on a Wednesday night because she's staying up to watch Emerge Detour Essentials Live. So hey, Loretta. Hi, Casita. Lorianne. Welcome, everybody. So as usual, we like to do a quick introduction because we don't want to assume that you know who we are. So I'll start. My name is Naomi Garrick. I'm also known as the PR Chick, and I am a personal branding coach and the founder of Garrick Communications. And essentially, I help to position, package, and promote brands, companies, individuals in order to allow them to stand out in a very noisy world, whether on or offline.
Hi everybody, Hi everybody, I am Kathy Goodall, and I am a connector of brands, businesses, and people. I am a part of the Emerge Trio. I'm also the co-founder for Redefined Business Services that helps small and medium-sized businesses to structure their business, create processes, and of course, offer marketing services. So welcome. I'm really excited about tonight. We are excited about tonight because Naomi and I get to have a chat with somebody who we get to call friend, but somebody who we have been able to see blossom in ways that, and celebrate her all along the way. And it's so exciting when you get to celebrate the progress of your friends and see them shine, So everyone she loved thought that she was crazy because she left the United States to move back to Jamaica. She was on the chase. Having just graduated from Harvard Business School, she had the opportunity to work in a private equity in New York. And then she had a clear path to success ahead of her. But it was an empty success. She was living someone else's dream, not hers. So instead, she wanted to design a life that was a reflection of who she was and what she lived in. what she believed in. Lisandra moved back to Jamaica and tried many different things. Holding 3 jobs in 3 years, she wasn't sure that she made the right decision at all until she ended up at the Brunson Center. The Brunson Center for Entrepreneurship of the Caribbean found her. She became the CEO 3 years later at the age of 32. Can you imagine being a CEO at 32?
Of somewhere
And
like the Branson Center.
certainly, certainly, and led an incredible team of talented people on a mission. Now she has left to form her own online course and coaching company called Soul Career. She has learned so many on the journey on her journey. So she has learned so much on her journey. And we can't wait for her to share her journey with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please help us to welcome Lisandra Rickards.
Hey. Hi. Yeah. Hi. What a great intro. Thank you guys so much.
We're so excited.
Welcome. We're so excited to have you on Emerge.
I can't believe you put me on after Miss Kitty because, oh my God, how can you follow Miss Kitty? Jeez.
No, I mean, I don't even know what to say.
Right, but guess what? Tonight is going to be just as enjoyable, and people are going to be so enlightened and filled. And I think everybody's going to leave here tonight thinking about whether or not they are in their soul career.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And before we even start going into soul care, because I'm sure a lot of people are very curious to know, what is that exactly? And of course, we're going to touch on that, especially after hearing a little bit of Lisandra's journey through the intro. So, of course, to start off, we always want to get an idea of your own individual journey. I know a lot of people already know you from the Branson Center. Some are now meeting you through Soul Career, but let's go a little bit back before all of that and just tell us a little bit about your own personal journey to this point.
Sure. So I guess I'll start with what did I want to be when I was growing up? I wanted to be a journalist, actually, a writer. I used to write books, like fold up a white piece of paper in half and write little booklets, wholly for them around my house. But you get to fifth form or fourth form, you have to choose your subjects at Campion and you have to decide, okay, really, what are you going to do? And, if you got good grades in school, they wanted you to be a doctor or engineer or a lawyer. Those are the 3 things you can be at Campion. Back in the day, I won't tell you. Back in the day.
My son would say in the olden days.
The olden days.
Right. So what would you say about us?
Well, we're all part of the same
decade.
Right. So I decided I was going to do economics and I really loved the teacher. And she really taught me a lot about scarcity and why she was able to relate what was happening in Jamaica at the time with what we were learning about economics in the book. So we had the gas riots, for example. I think that was in 1997. And she brought that into the classroom through demand and supply and gas prices going up by 30% overnight and that leading to riots in the streets. And I just saw economics as a way to change this country and to help us grow and become like Cayman and become very like a high GDP, a high per capita income country. That was my vision and my dream, so that none of us would want to migrate. We would all want to stay here and raise kids together with our friends next door and have a great quality of life as well. So I decided to go to the University of Chicago because of their economics program. Mm-hmm. So I went to Campion, that's my high school, and some U.S. universities would come to Campion and recruit specifically there. So the University of Chicago was one of them that came to Campion. And I met the admissions officer who was trying to get more minorities to go to the University of Chicago. And I kept up my relation. I knew about networking from back then. So I would message him, hey, how you doing? Da, 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 da. And when I sent in my application, I make sure, like, listen, my application is in. I hope I get a scholarship.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a huge scholarship. I think it was the largest scholarship in Jamaica at the time,
Wow.
$45,000 a year for 4
Nice.
years to go to the University of Chicago. So I didn't have to pay for anything. But so while I was there, I was on the PhD track to economics because I wanted to be the Minister of Finance for Jamaica, like Nigel Clark, and
Yes.
put in some good policies because I didn't think our policies were good and change Jamaica.
Mhm.
And on the PhD track, you do honors econometrics, honors statistics, honors calculus. It was a math degree, basically. I was reproving mathematical theorems in this class called analysis in RN and real numbers analysis. And like my brain got really fried, like real burnout situation at 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
Year 2 in college, I was completely burnt out. I wanted to quit. And I was thinking of transferring to another school whose program wasn't so rigorous. Chicago's winters were really cold
Yeah.
and it's like brutal polar vortex winters. And I've never seen snow in my life before I went to Chicago. So I just got hit on every side. And I decided to take a year abroad and study abroad in Spain, which was very life changing for me. If you know anything about me, Spain is my second home. It's an amazing country. It is the country for people who love culture and art and flamenco and botellón and going out in the streets and dancing and drinking and people and and everybody's good looking. It's
Really?
a fabulous country. And I didn't do any work. I skull school for the first time. I traveled to Rome on my own and Paris and Lisbon and London. And I just came into my own and had this amazing European experience.
Yeah.
And I got a B for the first time in my life. I was a real nerd.
Wow, Lisandra, wow.
Can't relate to that one.
No, cannot relate.
And so I came back to Chicago. That was my third year. So I came back to Chicago and I had changed completely as a person, but I was still in the same program on the same track. And I ended up working at this company, at this research organization at the school called Freakonomics. I don't know if any of you guys have read the book Freakonomics, but I wrote parts of the second book, Super Freakonomics. It was a very famous book.
Wow.
I was a research assistant there. And again, heavy research role in economics. So burned out again. I was coding, statistical programming, coding in statistical software.
First
That
of
was
all,
my life.
Lisandra, like I'm hearing you and my brain is like just,
Yeah, it's tired.
it's like not even the same.
Checked out.
Yeah. So when I say I tired out my brain from a very young age, I actually have chronic burnout now because of how much I tax my brain.
What is that? What is chronic burnout?
It is whenever you are whenever you're going hard and you're putting in the work and you're grinding and you just hit a wall. So first it feels like complete exhaustion and depletion, like can't move. It feels physical. But then when you get deeper into burnout, it turns into an existential crisis where what is the point of anything? What is the point of all this hard work? It's just all meaningless because what am I doing this coding for? What am I doing anything for? My whole life has no meaning and purpose. And many of the clients that I work with hit that point where everything becomes meaningless and we have to do a lot of work to find meaning again in their lives. So let me cut the story a little bit short. So Freakonomics, and then I decided I didn't want to do a PhD in econ. I was done with econ. And my mentor, Steve Levitt, said, you should be a CEO. You should go to Harvard Business School. And I was like, what's a business school? I don't know anything about business school. All I know is about PhD programs,
And statistics and all those other things you're talking about.
Yeah. And that's a part of my life that I don't talk about a lot anymore because I've forgotten, like, don't ask me nothing about that. I've forgotten everything that I learned back then. I put it out of my mind. But yeah, so he said you should go to business school. I went, and so he was very connected to Harvard, and he wrote me an amazing recommendation, and he's a very famous author. So I applied to one place.
Famous author.
I applied to one school, Harvard Business School. I got an amazing recommendation, and I got in. And then that was an amazing experience, transformed my life, the network, the people that I'm in contact with now, the community that I'm a part of. Any city in the world I go to, I'm immediately part of a network that is very powerful, because we have a code, like an unwritten code, that if an alumni asks you for anything, you help in any way that you can, no matter what you're doing, right?
Okay.
And so that was amazing. And I felt like, oh my God, this is it. There's the jet setting life, travel and Dubai. And I got picked up from the airport in a BMW and got driven from Dubai to Abu Dhabi because I missed my flight. So HBS was like, okay, we'll take care of you. And, that's the kind of school that I went to. Yeah. And I got to the pinnacle of the pinnacle, which is private equity in New York City.
Right.
If you get a private equity job coming out of Harvard Business School, you're earning immediately $400,000 a year. Immediately. That's your salary. Straight out of business school. Going from $20K a year, Jamaican salary, to $400,000 if I had decided that was a path. So I got there, but the burnout was heavy. I could not push as hard as everybody else was pushing. There was just this wall that I couldn't break through. I knew I had the capacity and the ability, but I just didn't have the energy anymore. My brain was tired. And then I was in the existential crisis. What is this all for? All these guys are just suits. They're just, it's just all ego. It's all, look how smart I am.
Yeah.
Very empty. And I was like, this is not me. I don't know who this person is. And I need to figure out who I am and what I want. So I walked away from all of that, from the big 6-figure salary. I walked away from the United States, moved back to Jamaica, back into my parents' house, back into the room that I left at 18 years old with whole heap of debt, no savings, no money. And I was like, I went to Harvard Business School. How did I end up back here?
Yeah. Wow.
So you want me to continue?
Yes, absolutely.
No, we want to know what
happened next.
Yeah. So how do you go to Harvard Business School and fall from this great, great height? You were at the pinnacle of the world. And you decided to walk away from everything with I don't have a green card, So coming back to Jamaica was, you're stuck if you don't have a citizenship or a green card, And so I actually was very depressed for 3 years, I would say, the first 3 years. And the salaries in Jamaica are terrible. We are
especially compared to $400,000. Absolutely.
Well, I didn't earn that, but that would have been my
potential.
Right. That's what you.
Right. The potential to earn.
Right. So it was just, I took one job. I tried to push through to the year mark, but made it like 7 months, quit. Got another job, made it to 1.2 years, quit.
Who said that? 1.2 years.
Because I was like, what's the point? I've seen the world. Like, I can't stay in this, I cannot be confined in this environment. If I'm going to be back here, it has to be something that I love. So if I don't love it, I'm not going to stay. I have to keep it moving, And I was doing all this internal work at the time. Psychometric tests, visioning, law of attraction.
Psychometric test?
So it is a test that explains you to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because who you think you are and who you really are underneath are often two very different things. So I thought I was a quant. I thought I was statistics, math, quant. And these tests were telling me that I'm a people person, that I like to have influence, that I'm a good negotiator, that I'm really good at strategy and people and teams. And I was like, who is that person? Is that me, really? So I had a completely different understanding of who I was than who I actually was. And that was what made me so miserable and empty in all these finance jobs that I was going for and leaving, because I wasn't going after things that was aligned with who I really, really was. And I had to take a break from that life in order to discover myself.
So those would be like personality tests, right?
Yes, exactly. That's another name for it. Right. And the book that really changed my life was, of course, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I mean, that is a must read about mindset.
Yes.
Everything in our lives comes from our thoughts and or ability to conceive of what life can be for ourselves. If we don't believe we can have a life for ourselves that is true to us, then we can't get it. The first step is the belief. So that book just worked on my mind so much. And I created this vision of what I wanted my life to be. I wanted to be based in Jamaica, but traveling around the world. I wanted to have weekends at the beach. I wanted to work with people using what I've learned to share with others and help change their lives. That was the vision that I had. And that exact job landed literally in my lap. I literally just manifested that job.
Wow.
Should I tell that story?
Yes.
Wait. Is this? Oh, well, yes.
I'll pause. No. What do you want to ask?
No, go ahead, Lisandra.
Yeah, it's a must read. It's the first. I'm seeing the comments. Think and Grow Rich is if you want to get your mind right, you have to read it. So yeah.
Yeah, so, I think I was scrolling through my phone while you're speaking, because I was like, I'm sure I have either read this and I realized I had listened to it on Audible. It's 9 hours on Audible.
Yeah. So October 2012, I wrote down this vision of what I wanted my life to look like. December 2012, I got an email in my inbox that's from the previous CEO of the brand, Lisa Lake, who said, I'm looking for part-time people to help me train entrepreneurs in business principles 2 or 3 days a week. You know, not a lot of money at all. Yeah. It's a nonprofit. And I was like, I can do that, because at that point in time, I had decided I want to be a travel blogger. And I want to write a book and move back to Spain and be a waitress to make money, or bartend.
Wow, Lisandra.
That was my plan. And I kid you not, because I was like, I won't say what I was going to say, but I was like, forget everything that I've done. Forget all of that, because it makes me so unhappy. I'm going to go back to where I was happy, which was Spain. I'm going to work as a waitress and write my book and create my travel blog. And that's going to be my life.
Absolutely.
So I got this email in my inbox and I'm like, oh, I can do that for 6 months and save up for the plane ticket to go to Spain. And I'll just do this 3 days a week for 6 months, write my book part-time. Let me just do that. So 6 months I was supposed to be there. 7 years I ended up being there at the Richard Branson Center of Entrepreneurship.
But you started as a part-time worker, right?
Yes,
you started doing part-time volunteering. So how did you end up as a CEO?
Yeah, I was. How did I end up as a CEO? When you find something that lights you up from the inside out, where you're working hard, but it feels effortless. It feels like ease, like this is naturally what I would want to be doing with my life anyway. You go all in. That's your word, right, Naomi? All in.
Yeah.
And I was really deeply committed. And Lisa, the CEO, to her credit, she gave me free reign. I was an entrepreneur within the center. So I recreated all their programs. I created new things from scratch that didn't exist before. I branched out from training into financing entrepreneurs, crowdfunding, equity investment, loans, all of that. I developed all of those programs from scratch. And then at the end, I was brought into coaching and developing a more robust coaching program as well when I led that program department. So I was just on fire. I would have built this company myself. So I was in it like I was a founder. And the days and the years just passed, and every year was different. And because I made sure that everything I did was excellent work, high quality work, because my brand is excellent. So if you come into contact with anything that I produce, it's going to be amazing. And so 3 years in, or 3.5 years in, I was selected to become the next CEO of the center.
Wow. I mean, I hope you guys are listening, really listening to that journey from, first of all, just dealing with all those numbers, the statistics, and then the burnout, and then getting this amazing opportunity through Harvard Business School to end up in a position where you could be earning $400,000 a year.
Still not there.
And started making a decision
to walk away from it.
Walk away and come back to Jamaica to basically to start back from scratch, contemplating moving to Spain to be a waitress, just so that you can
be happy,
live in a space where you could be happy. So on that note, then, Lisandra, what I want to know is, what are some of your passions and what are the things that are most important to you? What do you really value in life? I know you shared some of it through the journey, which will lead us into Soul Career. But what are those things that you realized over the years are really the things that matter most to you?
So I did this core values exercise with my team, and I decided to do it for myself. So I know right off the top of my head what my top 5 core values are. Number 1 is connection, connecting with other people. Number 2 is excellence, which we've just talked about. My whole life has been around excellence and living the biggest life I could and giving my all. And number 3 is culture. You know, I love wine and food and art and architecture and travel. That's a big core value for me, and my work has to incorporate that side of myself. Yeah. And then number 4 is, let me think off the top of my head, I forget now. Freedom. Oh my God, how can I forget that?
That's your big one.
Freedom from living a life that other people project onto me. So many people project what they want onto me. You know, they want me to be this type A ambitious CEO, and I've been trained and I present that way. But who I really am underneath is an ENFP, like you, Naomi, which is a bohemian personality type. It is the most free-spirited, nomadic, bohemian personality type. ENFPs are the journalists in war zones, hopping from country to country to be where the action is. We like chaos. We don't like uncertainty. We don't like structured environments. We like dynamic environments that are constantly changing. Mm-hmm. So I need freedom to be that person. I don't want people to put me in this rigid hierarchy or this rigid box that I can't get out of.
Wow. What do you remember what number 5 is?
Creativity. I have to, and it's creativity to me doesn't mean being an artist or a musician. It means creating something in the world that other people value that didn't exist before. And Soul Career is my creation, and the programs at the Brands Center were my creation, and the funding programs were my creation. So creating something that didn't exist before. And my medium is training content, really training content and delivery.
I love that. I'm glad we actually posted in the chat for you guys to share what are your 5 core values. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we actually don't take the time to actually really think about that. You know, what is actually important to us and what are we really passionate about?
Yep.
So I think
figuring it out is to look at the decisions that you've made in your life. It's not about, oh, I think I value freedom. If you have taken decisions into less freedom rather than more freedom, then you value freedom less than, for example, certainty. So a lot of people go into a rigid corporate environment because they want structure and they want certainty. So certainty and predictability is your core value, and safety, not freedom, right? So you really need to look at the decisions you've made in your life, not just, oh, let me think what I would like. No, what decisions have you made? That's what shows you your core values.
Yeah, and then also doing one of those psychometric tests or personality tests that Lisandra spoke about. We both discovered that we have the same personality type. And I have a friend that just did their personality type test today as well. And it's just sometimes I actually read over mine today just to remind myself of who I am.
Yes.
Why I make certain decisions, around my life and stuff. So, I mean, guys, you can go on 16personalities.com and you can
do it for free.
Personality test. It's a really cool experience, and you might surprise yourself as well.
And you know what? Mine changed. But and if you, as you grow, it will change. Your interest will change as you grow. You might have different things that you're interested in now that you were before. Like I was a much freer spirit before than I am now, but I'm still, I still don't like the structure. So
yeah. If you take it before you're 25, it will definitely change because your prefrontal cortex is still developing until you're about 25 years old. And after that, it becomes a little bit more stable. So after that, you'll see one or two letters flipping in the Myers-Briggs. Alicia is asking where you can take it. 16personalities.com has a great free one that I recommend to everyone. And so if you one or two letters might change, so I was ENFP to the max for my entire life, and now it's slowly switching to ENFJ, which is
I'm more ISFP
person. You're an INFP.
Which one are you?
ISFP. I'm an adventurer.
FSP. Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
ISFP, yeah.
Okay, so ISFP is a very creative, very kind of, I think is the adventurer person.
Adventurer, yeah.
Yeah, so, and that person loves to work with aesthetics, beautiful things. So you're in branding. A big reason that you're in that is because of this ISFP nature. Aesthetics, design, beauty, very important. Also adventurous, loves experimentation, doesn't like sameness, has to be changing all the time, right? ENTJ, Lancet, so that is a very kind of that's a commander personality. Nicole McLaren Campbell is an ENTJ as well. Don't ask me why I have a photographic memory for these things. ENTJ is a commander. So you like efficiency, you have no patience, you need things to get done now, you're a leader and you need people to fall in line, and you can be brutally honest when people are coming across as lazy or inefficient. So one area for you to work on is to soften a little bit and have more understanding of different personality types that are different from you, and learn how to navigate that rather than giving orders a little bit, Lance.
Lance is guilty. And we would never get that because he is like the most warm and welcoming and thoughtful person, but we don't work with him.
Right.
So Calvin was saying you'll contact a coach that helped you with your core values. Exactly. So my company now is a coaching company, and that's the very first step of working with us is psychometrics and core values and learning more about yourself first before you can make any decisions, because your decisions and your actions have to be aligned with who you are underneath if you want to be happy in your life and your career.
Yeah.
And what I would recommend to guys, I know, please don't jump off of Emerge to go. Everybody's doing their personal. Your time, be in a nice, calm, relaxed mode. You don't want to rush through it because it's a series of questions that you need to answer. And I remember the first time I did it, and the results I got when I read it, it didn't feel like me. I think it could have been the adventure, but I'm not sure. But then I did it a few months later, and then when I read the characteristics of what am I,
ENFP.
ENFP. I was like, this is me. I'm the
Mhm.
campaigner. That's exactly who I am. So take your time when you're doing it.
And be brutally honest, guys,
And be
because
very
it's for
honest.
your benefit. Be brutally honest.
Yeah, I'll just do one more. ESTP is the entrepreneur. ESTP and ISTP, don't even bother try get a corporate job. Don't even bother, because you will be deeply unhappy in that. You cannot exist in a rigid hierarchical environment. You have to be an entrepreneur. So you need to grow your skills in business ASAP. Start learning how to sell, start freelancing, because existing in a corporate structure is going to crush your soul. ISTP and ESTP, that is the case.
Loretta must be an entrepreneur because she doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
So she clearly operates on her own time.
From London. So yes.
Mhm. Yeah. So you can book, well, a little pitch here, but you can book a free consultation with me, guys, at soulcareer.com. And in that consultation, we'll talk about your personality type and what it means for your personal and professional decisions. Thanks.
Awesome. So on that note, Lisandra, how would you define success?
Yeah. So success for me is living a life that is truly an expression of myself. I am expressing my full 100% authentic self in the world. And I am wealthy, millionaire doing that, beyond the 400, 500K and into millionaire status. But I created that, self-made. What I put into the world attracted that level of value to me. And outside of the career part, I have a flourishing partnership with my husband, which I don't have yet. This is what I want to manifest. But but why not?
You have to put it out there and claim it, girl. Be very intentional.
Me so long is that it's not enough for me to just find a man to be with and have babies with. I need a full partnership. I need closeness in all of my relationships, real intimacy, real sharing of who we are with each other, a real partnership for life. And that is hard to find, especially if you're a high achieving woman who is very confident and knows herself well. A lot of people in this society and men tend to be intimidated by that. I'll just be very honest. They say, oh, you're intimidating. And I'm like, why am I intimidating? Because I'm smart and I'm being myself and I make no bones about that. No, and in other societies, I don't feel like I'm some intimidating person. I just feel like a regular person, right? In New York, there are others. So I want our country to evolve where women that have it together are not seen as this or that, bossy, intimidating, whatever. We are seen as women, feminine, who want community and connection and closeness and caring. And I have a lot to say about attachment theory. So can I go there, guys? That's going sideways.
Yes, not yet. We're not there yet.
Okay. Why can't we just segue into attachment theories?
Because we'll get there in a few.
Okay, we'll get there.
Like, yes.
Mark saying, I'm not intimidated. Okay, Mark, I see you shooting your shot.
So, Lisandra, it's clear that you are not afraid to make unpopular decisions, right? Because like you said, your entire family thought you were crazy when you decided to leave New York to come back to Jamaica.
Yeah.
So for our emergers who are struggling with being stuck because they're afraid of what others will think, or they're afraid of leaving the security of where they are, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I mean, it's the older we get, the harder it is, because the more we have to lose. Mm-hmm. It's easier when you have less to lose, right? When you have kids, a mortgage, loan payments, it's much harder to make big shifts in your life. So I want to just acknowledge that right off the bat. Mm-hmm. I will never give the advice, so leap and the net will appear. Right. No, because you could leap into financial ruin, which happens to so many people. So my advice is, step one, understand your psychology, which we've talked a lot about. Mm-hmm. Step two, position yourself really well for the next move. Positioning matters a lot as to whether you're going to be successful or not, whether you're an entrepreneur or in a traditional career. A career is the vehicle through which you exchange your energy and your time and your labor and your skills and your talent for symbols of status, like symbols of value, like money, status, prestige, a great expense account, whatever you want to exchange your blood, sweat, and tears for, that vehicle is your career. So it could be a traditional career, it could be an entrepreneurial career.
Yeah.
Either way, you need to know how to position yourself. And that takes planning, it takes thought, it takes writing things down, it takes foresight. It doesn't just take jumping out on a limb, especially now that we're older and we have so much to lose. The third step is persistence and resilience, right?
Yeah.
You are going to experience hard times in any big change you make in your life. That is the key, that's like the gate, the pass. It is your trial. Like, are you worthy of this thing that you want? Let me test you, right? And you're gonna go through a dip, and you have to be able to persist through that dip and make it to the other side. The other side of the dip is everything that you've ever wanted. So in order to persist through the dip, you have to have a plan. You need to know how the money is going to work out. So if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to take a side job, you're going to get investors, you're going to grow sales as a side hustle before you jump into the entrepreneurship. If you're in a traditional career and you want to move to a different one, are you going to network on LinkedIn first to create a plan? Make sure you have interviews and offers before you make the jump. That way it's a lot smoother and helps you to persist through the hard time. Now, you can make a jump. I've made a jump. I've made many jumps, right?
So have I.
But I have made decisions my entire life in search of freedom. And so I don't have as many encumbrances as other people have. I don't have a mortgage that is deliberate. I didn't want to be rooted to any one place because I want to pick up and leave and move to whatever country I want to move to at any time. So I actually don't crave a mortgage. Other people are like, I need a house, I need a mortgage. I'm like, I don't want that. Right? I'm very, very cautious around having kids because that feels like rootedness to me, and being
Certainly
for the child and giving them that stability, at least for the first 5 or 6 years of their lives.
Right.
So I have deliberately shied away from that, not that I haven't had opportunities for that. And so the decisions that I've deliberately made have been to give me the freedom to take up and jump. And even with that, I had a plan. I got investors. I gave myself a runway. I didn't just leap into financial ruin. So you have to figure out the plan for yourself that will enable you to persist.
Okay, so we always talk about people turning their careers into big bucks, and your approach to soul career, you told us that you start with the personality test, but walk us through the journey of what people could expect if they came to you because they said, Lisandra, I am miserable and I don't know what I'm doing. And it does, and I think it's important for people to understand that soul career doesn't mean that you're going to come out of the job that you're in and be an entrepreneur. It could very well be a job that you're within your same organization in a different position. So tell us about the journey that you take people through throughout the soul career program and what the end result should be.
Absolutely. And you are absolutely right, Kathy, because we've had people who came in, they're like, I want to quit my job tomorrow. And then at the end of the program, they got promoted to assistant vice president and chief privacy officer. That was the most recent one. Or 4 weeks in, their whole energy changed at work and they got promoted 4 weeks in, right? We've had people who came in and like, I want to get promoted and end up leaving and getting into an MBA program in London. We've had people who switch jobs, got jobs at IKEA, Uber, etc. So all these different, or leave and become an entrepreneur. We've had all of those outcomes, just like you said. So the first part of the course is your psychology, or 3P, psychology, positioning, persistent. So psychology, we start with psychometrics, but then we go deeper into visioning and into what we call the soul career attraction plan, which is not just the vision, but the feelings that you want to have in the job that's meant for you, because those feelings are going to guide you to the right jobs, right? So when you read the job descriptions now, when you're going into the search stage, you feel into them. You don't just say, oh, that looks like something I could do. You
Right.
feel, do I feel like, oh God, that feels horrible reading that job description, or oh my God, right? And we go towards the things that feel like, and we go away from the things that feel like, right? So that's the first part. The second part now is the hard part, which is the positioning. So we start with the personal mission statement, which is your statement of your soul career. What were you put on this earth to do? And what is the evidence that you have been moving towards that mission? So we give you a structure to write it down. And that's the hardest part, because it's in you and we have to pull it out. And your first draft sucks. And then your second draft sucks a little less. And then draft 4 is good, right? And then we do your resume, which comes out of your mission. So we don't just recraft your resume around what you've done and whatever. It's around the mission, and you tell a story around why you made those career decisions that you made according to the mission that you have. Then the cover letter is just a reshaping of your personal mission statement. So everything flows from your mission. And then we go into search. So dream 25 jobs that will make you come alive, networking, applying, following up. And then at the end of the program, we talk about how to be a rock star in the first 90 days in your new role. So that's the program as a whole.
Guys, that's soul career.
But you said 3P, psychology, positioning, and the last one I think is extremely important. So I want you to highlight what you mean.
Yeah, so the persistence piece is so important, because the people who succeed in this program are the ones who persist, right? So most people apply to 1 or 2 things, they don't hear back, or they don't make it to the interview stage, and then they get disheartened and they just stay stuck where they are. But nothing in life comes if you operate like that.
Correct.
You have to keep going until you get what you want. You have to keep working the process. Fundraising in your company, sales in your company, getting that job, everything. You have to work the process until you get the result. You can't quit in the middle. You cannot quit in the middle. And for you to be able to do that, I'm looking at the comments. Okay, let me focus. For you to be able to do that, you have to have this internal energy and internal fortitude. So in the first part of the program, in the psychology piece, week 2 is about centering yourself, releasing that energy of chasing, the energy of urgency, the energy of desperation. Those energies, the energy of anxiety, those energies repel what you want. They don't attract what you want. The energy of receiving, of gratitude, of openness, of calm is what attracts what you want. So how do you get to that energetic space? Well, we have a lot of different processes to get there in week 2 of the program. Let me pause there. I'm talking a lot.
Excellent, right. So as a woman in business, right, you've managed to work in New York, which is a pressure cooker, and you've managed to work in Jamaica, also in an environment that, is a multinational company. What do you think are the differences that you found in your experiences with the US versus Jamaica, especially as a woman in business?
Oh my gosh. Okay, let me start broader and then I'll get to gender. Broader, Jamaica is a low trust society. We don't trust anybody. We don't trust people. We don't trust businesses. We don't trust partners. Low trust society. And it is a society that operates from scarcity. Like there's not enough. So I have to take what I can get, right? And that is exhausting. It's exhausting. It's tiring to operate like that all the time. There's not enough. I have to scramble. There's not enough. And we have had a history of not having enough. But that creates a whole psychology of the country that is oppressive. It's oppressive and it keeps us down. New York is abundance. It is, of course, I'm going to get what I want and more, right? It is. And people trust that before Trump at least, people trusted that their institutions were going to be there to catch anything. So there's not a lot of huckstering and trying to
Yeah.
one up everybody. It's more, I expect you to be a professional. You expect me to be a professional. We have that trust that we're all going to operate as professionals. You don't have to be looking around the corner. What kind of shit
Managing. Yeah.
right? So that's the broad-based difference. On the gender level, I actually find that Jamaica is very good on gender dynamics in the workplace. We have the highest percentage of women managers in the world at 56%. We're number one in the world according to World Economic Forum. Whereas in the US, there's not as many, or at the time, there wasn't as many women at the table or in leadership roles.
Yeah.
And so the ones that were there felt they had to operate in a more masculine way to get ahead. In Jamaica, though, there are a lot of huge ego all over the world. There's a lot of huge egos that you have to deal with. So
Yeah.
the way that I've had to navigate that, in that I have to allow my way is to allow the ego to exist and to express itself, and then influence, try to work it in a different
Absolutely.
way.
Massage. Yep.
Because
To get the outcome that you want.
it's not gonna get anywhere. So if you're up
100%.
against somebody who is doing this, you have to have an open hand. If you
Yep.
have an open hand on the other side, you can push a little harder, right? So it's
Yeah.
a little dance that you have to do.
Absolutely. And it really is about understanding the people that you're dealing with, because my former boss was very headstrong. And so when he made a decision, you allowed him to just go with it. And then you quietly go to him after when nobody else is around and say, what do you think about this?
Yes.
And make it become his idea so that you can execute what you want.
Right. So that's all. And it's not just men versus women or what have you. It's all genders. It's all, you
Yes.
just have, again, everyone has a different personality type.
Personality.
So let's say an ESTJ, which is the executive personality type, they need to dominate in the room. So if you are an INTJ, INFP, ENFP, allow the ESTJ to dominate and express themselves, and then you communicate in your communication style that fits you. You know?
So, Lisandro, you had started to touch on attachment styles, and I saw that it had piqued the interest of some of our viewers in the comments. So we want to talk a little bit about your own personal entrepreneurial journey. But before we get there, I'd love to hear what you were going to say before about the attachment style.
So I've been reading a lot since about 2 years ago about attachment theory, which is that when we're very young, 0 to 6 years old, we learn how to attach to people through our relationship with our parents and our childhood experiences. And that style follows us throughout our lives and manifests in our work, in our personal relationships, especially because that style is an operating system for your life. That's how you navigate your life. So there are 3 attachment styles. One is avoidant. So you push people away. You distance yourself from other people. You can't deal with too much closeness. And that's actually, I think, is a dominant style in Jamaica, because it's very cool in high school here to be aloof and distant and be above the fray and not be too mama man or whatever, all these little terminologies we have. So our society is an avoidant society, in my opinion. Then the second attachment style is the anxious attachment style, the need for closeness. I need to become one with the other person, and we merge and we don't have any separation. I need to know where you are at all times. And that manifests even in the career that you choose, right? So you have anxiety with your career. You're attached to your career. You're anxiously attached to your man and your house, and any kind of change or loss is very disorienting for you. And then you have the secure attachment style, which is you appreciate closeness. You don't run away from it. You draw closer to people, but you're also okay being on your own. You're secure. So I was an anxious avoidant, right? So in my young years, the avoidance side was very I didn't want anybody. I was living my life, traveling, don't get too close. No. I have to live my life, right? And then the anxious side, the reason that I pushed people away was fear of abandonment. My mom worked a lot. My dad was a little distant. So I was alone a lot with my brother at home and as a child, not out of any kind of neglect, but just out of people are working, right?
Busy. Yeah.
Are busy. My parents were
Yeah.
busy. And so older now, that's my expectation that there's going to be this distance but I have my anxious side was fear of abandonment. So I became avoidant for that reason. So now I've done all this work to become more secure. And it's many years of work.
Journey. Absolutely.
And that's what has allowed me to now build a business that is an expression of myself, and feel secure and not afraid or nervous or distant, and be fully myself in the world. And I think that's what will allow me to manifest my husband as well.
I love it. We're here for that, Lisandra. Guys, there are different websites that you can even do that test as well. I don't remember them, but I definitely, like Lisandra, have done a lot of research in that space too.
I love psychology in general. I think if I go back to school, I will do a master's or PhD in psychology because I'm just very interested in it. But read the book Attached. That is the best book on attachment styles out there.
Mhm.
Taking
Okay.
notes.
We're always making notes, and so that we can also share in the comments as well. There it has just been added. So attached, if you want to learn more about attachment styles. And then in the meantime, after Emerge is finished, you can Google more about the different types and do your own quiz as well after the show. So we know that you've helped so many entrepreneurs, not just in Jamaica, but across the Caribbean through the Branson Center. But now you've been on your own entrepreneurial journey. What has that been like for you to now, like, literally go off on your own and create something that no one has ever heard of before? You created this product and service offering.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I have the trademark in the US and in many other countries as well, which is just crazy to me. Okay, so because of my training, creating a business in terms of the structure, in terms of raising funding, in terms of all of that was not hard. A lot of entrepreneurs find the structuring part to be hard in their business, and creating scalable systems and putting in systems and procedures. So I'm a strategist, and that part wasn't hard for me. What was hard for me was the emotions that come with launching nobody trains you about the emotional journey you're going to be on launching your own business, because you identify so heavily with the success and failure of the business. Your whole identity becomes consumed by this product that you've created. And so I've had to navigate the anxieties of having a low sales day or a low sales week, or the highs of, oh my gosh, I landed funding, yes. And then the next day, the next month, no sales for a month. And then the next month after that, big partnership with New York. And the next month after that, partnership mashup, right? So
it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's a roller coaster of emotions. And it has really trained me how to be calm in the middle of the storm. No matter what is happening around me, I have to have an inner knowing that everything is going to work out better than I expected. If I don't know that, it cannot be true. I have to know it for it to be real. Look at Tom Brady. He knows he's going to win no matter what. And he wins, right?
And he
conspires, and the refs conspire, and everybody conspires, and Tom Brady wins. So the last comment I'll make on this is, my big lesson is that a traditional career is like living at home with your parents. You have shelter, you have food on the table, you don't have to worry about bills, nothing, but you have limited freedom. An entrepreneur.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah. An entrepreneurial career is now moving out of your parents' house and going out and making it on your own. You don't know how you're going to pay your rent. You don't know how you're going to pay your bills. You don't know anything. You're super emotional. You're eating ramen noodles on the couch.
Listen.
You don't know how it's all going to end up, but you still have a faith. You have a knowing that you're going to figure this out. So that is my analogy between the two.
I love that. What would have been your biggest fear on this journey to entrepreneurship?
Financial ruin is my biggest fear. I have given up everything before and gone into no money situation, even from New York to come back to Jamaica already. And I felt like I already did that. That part of my life is over. And I don't want that anymore, you know? So my fear was that I was going to end up, because I keep starting over in my life.
Yeah.
Right. So my fear was starting over again by doing this entrepreneurship. I was going to end up back where I was 10 years ago financially. And that hasn't happened at all. And I hope it doesn't happen. Right. But I do have my scenario analysis and strategy planned out for any eventuality, just in case.
I hope you guys heard what she just said. That's very important. So she has a strategy plan for possible failure
Yes.
or anything that could possibly happen, so that she's prepared and not caught off guard.
It helps with anxiety to know, okay, if the worst happens, I know exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can learn all about that in Soul Career as well.
Yeah.
Career.com. And also, now with COVID-19 still looming on the horizon everywhere, that really forced a lot of us that were not in that online space to jump online. I know that your program was essentially based online, but I'm sure that during this time you've had to really increase your online presence and you've had to re-strategize. How has that experience been for you now, in this new COVID world that we're living in?
Right. So because of my core values, my business was built to be completely remote and location independent from the very beginning. So it was online first. It's an online first business.
Yeah.
So the pivot for me has been, a lot of people feel very uncertain about their careers, which created this huge interest in Soul Career. But the financial, stability just fell. The floor fell out from a lot of people. And so a career-based business right now, people are very hesitant to pay for a coach, etc. So my pivot has been to do a lot more B2B work, to help to do corporate training, help change cultures in corporations in Jamaica and the US, while I'm still building traction with the individual career coaching side. So that's been the pivot. However, what I will say is I did 50 clients last year alone in 2020 as individuals, not the corporate clients.
Awesome.
And they were from Japan, Panama, New York, California, Florida, right? The Caribbean, Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados. So my clients come from all over Japan, London, Denmark, Sweden, right? My client got a job. She's living in Denmark. She got a job in Sweden, New York. How did me living in Jamaica attract these clients from all over the world? Because excellence and speaking the language that your clients want to hear. Positioning, right? So I'm very, very happy with that. And I think it will double or more this year.
Excellent.
Wow. Lisandra,
wow, Lisandra, look who's visiting us today.
Hi, Catherine's brother, Gavin.
Not only visiting, but visiting and commenting. I can't.
Right, exactly. Commenting. He never comments, Lisandra. So you're special.
Gabby. Speaking of Gavin, where's Gabby?
Baking. I don't know if she's on.
Okay, so I'm gonna have
for sure. So, Lisandra, we have a segment called Best Advice that we have every week, and we want your best advice that you've either gotten or advice that you'd like to give or share with our emergers about different topics. So the first one is best advice about love. Valentine's Day is coming up. So what advice do you have to give us about love?
Read the book attached. Really,
all right. You heard
if you're in a partnership, you can improve communication.
Excellent. Okay.
Sorry, before we move on, are you seeing Gavin's comment in the chat?
Oh, Lord, do I want to?
I don't think he liked how Lisandra addressed him.
My friend from a long time, I think from even Mr. Abraham's days way back, like 8 years old, Gavin is on the live.
Thank you. What was the next one? Have
Right.
the best advice you have received or that you'd want to give about money?
Pay yourself first. Make sure you pay yourself. Because if you are stressed out and can't function properly, your whole life suffers. So if you save first before you pay things, or pay yourself, make sure you're paying yourself from your business too.
Okay,
Excellent.
awesome. Best
Best
advice
advice about
you have
life.
given or received about life?
The best advice about life is from this book I read about Winston Churchill, that you have to have this internal knowing. You have to know that what you want will happen. And that's a hard thing, because you have to know on the feelings level. You can't just say, I know it's going to happen, but you feel anxious. Your feelings have to know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's how you get what you want out of life. And that is the work that all of us have to do in this life.
Excellent.
Wow.
So, best advice about relationships.
Oh, that's different from love? Best
Of
advice
course,
about
what do you mean? You have relationships with all kind of people. You have relationships with people that you work with, your friends, your family, any
Well, and I
relationship.
mean, it is Valentine's weekend, so if you want to speak about best advice about relationships.
Well, it is to understand the other person's personality type. Honestly, just take the free test, both of you, and see your similarities and differences, because most of the issues come up because, whether it's relationship, romantic or not, most issues come up because people are speaking different languages, not just love languages, but just different styles of communicating. Introverts, extroverts, for example, two totally different needs there. So really understand each other and operate with that knowledge rather than projecting what you think should happen on the other person.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And what advice would you give your 20-year-old self? Not that long ago.
Have more fun. You're doing too much hard mental work too young. You're going to stress yourself out too much. Party more, go on more dates, date more, have more fun. Stop being so serious.
Excellent. Wow, Lisandra, I learned so much about you tonight. And I think that everybody now is probably very interested in how they are going to identify their soul career. So how do people find you?
The best way, the first step, is to do a free consultation with me where we walk through your personality test results, your vision for your life, where you are right now, and we create a roadmap for you to get to where you want to go. So you can do that. soulcareer.com, top left-hand corner, it says free consultation. Just click on that and book a consultation with me. That's the first step. And then we can decide if you're a good fit for our program or not.
Right. So I think everybody has to understand that you actually have to do an evaluation and assessment before Lisandra decides if she's going to take you on as a client or not. Because and those are the best coaches, because at least you know that we're not here to take your money just for the sake of taking your money. We need to know that we can actually help you.
Yeah. I have to know that I can help you, and also that the community that we're creating, we want to have a great, thriving community of people, and have people who add a lot of value to the community. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome. Lisandra, I also learned a lot too. I mean, I'm always taking notes. So, I mean, I'm so glad we're able to finally have you on Emerge Live. I know a lot of people are asking about Rochelle. Unfortunately, she couldn't join us tonight. So tonight we're not on Emerge 3.0. We are on Emerge Duo. But I think it worked out fine, and Lisandra became a part of our 3.0 tonight. So
yes, I was the third one on the 3.0.
Lisandra, I don't know if there's anything else you want to leave with our audience before we sign out, but I mean, I thought it was a really great show, and people can now start actually, if they've never thought about a soul career before, they know it's not too late. And at least you shared some of the steps to get there, and they can actually speak with you directly in that consultation to see if they really need their soul career right now.
Yeah. And I mean, look at the resources. We got so many resources tonight. So we're so grateful. 16 personalities.
Think and Grow Rich. Read that.
Think
That's
and Grow Rich,
yeah.
16 personalities,
Attached.
attached. I already ordered it, so I'm definitely going to be reading it.
um, I guess my last piece of advice is everybody comes into the program and we do the visioning and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's a dream and that's not real life. I can't have that. That's not real."
Yeah.
So that's the big limiting belief I come up against where people think they can't have the life that they envision. And you can have it. You have to decide and commit and persist. Persist. It's not going to happen 1 month from now, maybe not even 1 year from now, but keep taking decisive action in that direction and it will happen. Play the long game.
Yep. You know, I was talking to my cousin today and we're talking about making decisions. And every choice that you make is a right choice at the moment. People say that you flip flop, people say that you're indecisive, but the reality is that sometimes we just choose to make a new choice. You know?
Yeah.
And so, right. And so, perspective, the way that we look at things matters. And if you're already going to convince yourself that you're not equipped and you can't, and that, you know, it's out of your reach, then you're already defeating it yourself.
Yeah.
And so another reason that an evaluation has to be done to see if you're the right fit for the program, because if you're going to have a defeatist mentality, then don't waste your money. You know,
or your time.
Or your time. Exactly.
Or
so
Lisandra's
at the end of the day, we are so happy that you're able to join us, Lisandra, and I think that you'll be getting several phone calls because I think people know that they're unhappy in situations, but they didn't realize that there are actually things that can be done to help them to figure out what the next step is for them or where the right place is for them. You know, you ask people what their purpose is.
Or by even simply understanding themselves.
Correct.
Who they are.
Correct.
That they can figure out where they're actually supposed to be.
Exactly. So people talk about, oh, what's my purpose? But sometimes they don't understand that it's really about who you are first before you can start to figure out what you're good at and what it is that you should be doing.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know?
I would say that, you know, there is one, we provide a lot of emotional support in the program because this is an emotional journey.
Right.
But what we look for are people who will take action and not be paralyzed and not be able to take action. So if you're committed to taking action, then you're a good fit for the program.
Yeah, in our last workshop, that's how we closed our workshop, because people need to understand that without action, it doesn't matter. Nothing at all that we do matters. We could have all the plans in the world, we could have the greatest vision, but if we're not willing to execute it, then it defeats the purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Lisandra.
Thank you guys for
it was wonderful having you, and we will see you soon.
Definitely.
Lisandra, this was awesome.
Thank you. Not as good as Miss Kitty, though, I'm sure.
Different.
And Lisandra is Lisandra.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Thanks, guys.
Wow, that was so wonderful. I mean, like I said earlier, it's so great when we are able to have our people that are dear to us, that are close to us, and we've been able to experience a journey together. It's wonderful to be able to celebrate each other and gain so much insight. I mean, we've known Lisandra for a very long time, and we both learned a lot of things tonight that we never knew before. And again, all the tools. I mean, we've done a personality test before, but I do think I'm probably going to do it again, just because I think I know myself a little bit better now. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. Again, Rochelle sends her love. She's sorry that she was not able to be with us tonight. But those of you that are joining us for the first time, feel free to log on to any of our social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, at Ready to Emerge. You can watch our episodes. This is our third season, our sixth episode for the third season. And you can watch all the previous guests that we've had. Last week we had Miss Kitty, and she was hilarious. We had Brandon Ferguson the week before that. He was actually online tonight, which, all of our episodes are filled with so many gems, so much knowledge, insight that we can all learn and grow from. And they're all quite entertaining, if I do say so myself, because our guests are
always be entertained on
absolutely our guests are personalities that, pull us in. And so,
and not just our guests, Catherine, The
So
Emerge.
yeah, absolutely, and the trio, of course. Let's not forget the trio. But
Sorry, Dion, I see your message there in the chat. We're gonna check the emails right after this and get back in touch with you for sure. So thank you so much.
So thank you everybody for joining us. We'll see you again next week, Wednesday, same time, same place, 8 o'clock on our YouTube and our Facebook pages. And again, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment. We want to hear from you. You can email us at readytoemergenow@gmail.com. Anytime you want, you can also send us messages on any of our platforms. We'll respond. But thank you for spending your Wednesday evening with us, and we will see you again next week. Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
guys.